Hello everybody, and welcome to what I hope is going to be the first of quite a few of these types of videos, going over some old used Lego and integrating it into our larger collection. I have three things that I want to go over in this video. The first is a Bricklink haul, the second is a haul from a comic book store, and the third is a haul from a flea market that I went and checked out and got some really cool stuff. So without further ado, let's dive right into things. Starting off with the Bricklink haul first, I want to start with some of the bigger pieces that I was able to find, which were these three rock pieces. Now these ones are really cool. I love going through a Bricklink store and finding some of the older, weirder pieces that I can find. Specifically, I love looking around in old color sets. So I found these three rock pieces, and they are in, respectively, this one is a just regular trans medium blue, and these ones are in trans glitter blue. I've been working on a color palette that I'll show off in just a few minutes, but one of my favorite colors to collect are the glitter pieces, because I always feel like they show up in the coolest shapes than the strangest places. So I'm really happy to have these as part of my collection, and now I can make some sort of a cool, sort of three-dimensional, rocky, icy kind of feeling with these pieces. Next up, we're going to stick with the transmedium blue world. This is a Ninjago spinner. Now, I was a big fan of Ninjago back in 2011, back when this theme first came out. And I have a bunch of the spinners, which I'm hoping to do a video on at some point. But I was always disappointed by the fact that they didn't really reflect what we saw in the show. I mean, sure, they spin, but I mean, where's the tornado? Those were just kind of flat. And then I fell out of the hobby, mostly throughout high school and college, and so I missed everything that came out throughout the late 2010s and into the early 2020s, and dove back into them after I graduated and had adult money. So I totally missed these. These came from, I believe, Ninjago Legacy or Ninjago Core, and they were just a much better spinner. Once I have some of the figures out, I'll show you what they look like in action, but here you can see that you can slot a figure into these two studs. You can put a rounded 2x2 inverted tile on the bottom and spin away. And in kind of that same vein, I also missed out on these. This was a spinner from Master of the Mountain. A lot of those sets were designed to be like a board game, and so this was your die. Again, you can put a figure in here, you can put a rounded 2x2 inverted tile on the bottom, and you can spin this as your die. And you can either roll a 1, a 2, or a 3. And then there were several pieces that had two different options of things that could happen to you, either a skull or a heart. So this was the bad thing happen or the good thing happen. These are really cool. Kind of want to find a way to use these in a D&D game at some point, or even just as I collect more Master of the Mountain sets, I look forward to being actually able to play the game with this piece. In the same vein, I also was able to pick up this piece. This is a Lego die from some of the earlier Lego board games. Like I said, into Ninjago in 2011, I thought the board game was absolutely hideous. Between this and Heroica, which were the only two that were out at the time, I just remember seeing those tiny little figures and thinking they were super weird, did not appeal to me at all. But now as an adult, I look back at them and I just think that this piece is exceptionally cool. This is all rubber around the outside, so it's designed to bounce as part of its roll, and each face has these 2x2 studs on them, which means that you can grab just about any 2x2 tile and put them on here. For example, let's just pull some off the top here. This is the puffer fish face. This is the police face. Let's throw a skeleton, a skulkin face on it. Let's throw a shell gas tile on it. Apologies, it's kind of dirty, but that's okay. This will be the M-Tron face. And this will be our pizza face. So at this point, you can really just make up your own dice game. Roll it, and I rolled a puffer fish. I rolled a puffer fish again. Gas. Death. And straight to jail with you. So I think that this die is really cool, really customizable, has a lot of really cool potential, and it's just a fun piece to collect because it's so big and it's so unique. Okay, next up, we're gonna get into some not quite figures. I'm a big fan of Cheesy Studios, Shout out to him, although obviously he doesn't need it from me. Go show him some love. He just recently did a video talking about the Jack Stone 4+ Pirates figures and sets. And I didn't really think too much of it at the time. I thought it was a really cool history retrospective until I was checking out this Bricklink store. And, you know, I saw these for sale. And just, how do you pass these guys up? They are just some really weird pieces of Lego history. If you'll notice, they have a molded nose on the front. They have molded ears on the side. They have individually swinging legs that have no specific studs on the bottom, so they can slide around. They've got kind of a standard minifigure leg back here, printing on the front and back of the torsos. This headpiece, or the hairpiece rather, well, the headpiece, neither of them come off. It's all one piece, and that would arrive as part of the 4+ figures. And fun fact about these, in case you didn't happen to watch Choosy Studios' video, is that the arms on these, with the little molded fingers, are indeed exactly the same pieces that they would later reuse for the earlier versions of Lego Hagrid. Same molded fingers, same arm shape and everything, all translated one-to-one. So these, you know, these were the precursor to something that has stuck around for ages and a really cool part of Lego history. One, two. Next up, speaking of Lego history, let's get into some little figures for a second. I found on their store, interestingly enough, just this piece sitting right next to this piece. And if you don't know what these are, I'm sorry for your loss. These are the second wave of Lego Power Miners rock monsters. So these two pieces go right together, and you have a trans yellow rock monster here. Something I didn't know about these guys, because I had a lot of friends who had these as kids, but I didn't actually have any of myself. I was way more into Ninjago and Star Wars, and I just totally looked over Power Miners at the time. I know that they came with those famous crystals, but I didn't realize that they actually, their hands have a stud on either side, which is designed, of course, to work perfectly with these little crystals. That's where these guys came from. And they eat up the crystals, and that's their whole shtick. So this guy was really cool. I'm hoping to make a whole display shelf at some point of Lego history and contributions to Lego history. So these guys are definitely going to have a place there, and I'm really happy to have him in my collection, finally, at last. On the same topic of minifigures, I'm going to go over to this guy. This is Zane from the Tournament of Elements season of Ninjago. I've been really looking for this guy for a while at kind of a reasonable price. I've specifically been looking for the version with the armor. Have not been able to find that, but I did find this figure. I think it being in this kind of pearl light gray is really cool. And fortunately, I have enough Ninjago that I'm able to just take off his head and chuck one of these armor pieces on him. And there. He's perfect. Just what I was looking for. Absolutely phenomenal. Very happy to have this guy in my collection. I'm very happy to be able to put him on my Ninjago wall. On the same topic of Ninjago, I have a lot of little mini Ninjago pieces here, so we'll just blaze through some of these real quick. I found one of these Ghosts from Possession. They've got two little hands right there, and they're actually designed to be able to go over a minifigure's head like this. They have a little anti-stud in the bottom there, so they can fully possess a minifigure. I just think that's so cute. I happen to have another one of them in the collection back here. So now we have both of these, and they are indisposable members of the Ghost Army. So I'm very lucky and happy to have him. Still sticking with Ninjago for a second, I just want to run through some of these pieces. I found this Energy Blade. If you're not familiar with these, they came out in 2013, I believe, with Season 2, either 2012 or 2013, with Season 2 of Ninjago, and they were originally meant to be the elemental blades that were used in the final battle against the Overlord, but they were then reused in 2017 for Skybound as the Djinn Blades. So I have a couple of these up here. The Djinn Blades were used to capture the ninjas' souls, and as such, each ninja had their own version of a Djinn Blade that had their color blade here, along with a little tile here. I have a couple collected in this bag. I have the Zane one and I have the J one, and then I have a couple of loose pieces for one. This, I believe, went with Lloyd's Jin Blade when he got captured, so I'm happy to have that. And then alongside that, I was able to find the little tiles for them. Here is our little coal tile in that transparent brown piece. We also have this Sensei Wu tile right here, and this Nia tile right here in transparent medium blue. Very cool. So now as I'm growing out my collection of Jin Blades, I'll be able to include these three as well. Next up, I found this transparent pink Kitana. Like I said, missed out on Legacy, missed out on Master of the Mountain, missed out on Prime Empire as well. So I got this transparent dark pink Kitana in this little bag. I also have a transparent neon green katana as well. So these two can live next to each other. I just need one more Kitana and then I will have the whole set. I also managed to get this hood piece for Jay from Tournament of Elements. The minifigure that I have came without a printed piece up top. So it was technically incomplete and I've been looking for one of these ever since. Happy to have it. And I was able to find this fire blade piece from Legends of Chima. I'm going to use it for my Laval Dimensions figure, who is currently weaponless. I do not have the actual sword piece for this, just the fiery blade. So unfortunately, I still have more to collect for Laval's sword, but this is a good start. Moving away from Ninjago, but still in the context of weaponry, I got these two tridents. I find myself using tridents a lot for custom minifigures, and I always seem to be running out of them. So I got one gold one. These came first, I believe, in the Lego Atlantis sets. I have a bunch of these, but now I have some more. And I got a black one, which I had never seen before. I don't have any black tridents in my collection. Now I have one, and that is an excellent start. Next up, I received this paintbrush with the dark green tip on it. In my Vincent van Gogh set, I acquired a paintbrush with a dark blue tip on it, and so now I have the both of these, and I can make out quite a painter's gallery. I never thought it was going to be something that I wanted to collect, but now I definitely want to collect multiple paintbrushes in all the different colors. This is a little pearl gold teapot. Speaking of Ninjago, I want to use this as the Teapot of Tyron, the piece that Nauticon is trapped in. And once I have a Pirate J minifigure, I'm looking forward to having him hold this piece and stop the evil Jin. Next up, just a fun little Minecraft piece. I have a little tiny Minecraft display that just has some figures and some of the really cool pieces. This constitutes as one of those really cool pieces. I believe this is snow on the bottom with fire on top. So just a really fun little element to have. I think the pixel graphics are really cool, and I kind of want to use them for a Prime Empire mock at some point. Using these for, I don't know, maybe an explosion or just under one of the red visors would be really cool. And I just think that Minecraft has come out with some really cool pieces. I'm happy to have this one. Coming to the end of these pieces, I just have a couple random pieces that serve a couple different purposes. The first one is this trans neon green dish. I've been rebuilding some M-Tron sets, and I am short one transparent green dish. I also have one that's a little bit destroyed, but I will have to replace that a different time. For now, we only have the one. And these 4 pieces are all contributions to my color palette. Let me grab that real quick. This is my color palette. I'm hoping to do a longer video on this whole thing at some point and how I got to it. But basically, we have light colors across the top. We have medium colors across the bottom. We have regular colors. We have dark colors. We have a couple sand colors, transparent colors all down here, gold, silvers, whites, blacks, all over here. That's the general scheme to it. So the first piece that I found was this blue-violet cylinder. These are decently rare, definitely out of production now. They came in a couple castle sets. I believe it was Knight's Kingdom 2. So I'm going to put that right here underneath this dark violet. So now I have my whole purple line. I found this trans dark pink glittery piece, which is going to live over here underneath my trans dark pink, right there, and next to my trans opalescent pink right there. Then I have this glow-in-the-dark piece, which is very cool. I have one other right here. I know that there are 3 kinds. There's glow-in-the-dark white, there's glow-in-the-dark transparent, and there's glow-in-the-dark opaque, I believe. I believe this is the white one. I believe this is the transparent right here. And I'm just missing one more to go in this corner right here. Last but not least is this 1x1 round tile. Now, supposedly this is flat dark gold, says the seller at least, which is indeed what needs to go right here. I'm not so sure that I see a difference between this pearl gold and this flat dark gold, but it's certainly not this metallic gold, and here's pearl light gold. I'm just going to choose to trust the seller for the moment and call that flat dark gold for the moment until I find maybe either a better piece or somebody who knows these colors a little bit better than I do in person to tell me if this is really what this color is. I guess if you look at it, it is a slightly different sheen. Try to capture that in the light a little bit. Not quite sure, but either way, happy to have it. And next up is the thing that really drew me to this particular Bricklink store specifically, and that is instruction manuals. This store just had a bunch of instruction manuals for a bunch of sets that I had as a child, so a lot of these are very nostalgic to me, as well as sets that I acquired as an adult and didn't receive instruction manuals with because they were often used. I did have one minor complaint with this seller, which was that all of these instruction manuals came in a little plastic bag, and a couple of them, this one, and this one, all came soaked in something that smells really strong. I kind of think it's cologne. I can still smell them even now. It's very strong. This manual is not in incredible shape, but when I opened the bag, it was just overwhelmingly strong. Now they've kind of aired out a little bit, they're less strong, but it truly does feel like they were soaked or something got spilled on them. They smell so strongly of cologne. So, you know, not a deal breaker. Technically, they are still in decent quality. They're old manuals. I don't really care, especially because I love Lego to feel used and to feel loved. These are very clearly very loved. So that's fine, but just something to note. Here's the first manual. This is for a theme called Dino Attack. This is set 7473. And I got this set as a kid. I know very little about it other than it's one of Lego's many dino themes that have not traditionally done very well up until Jurassic Park and World sets. One of my favorite things about it was this just wicked looking dinosaur. I was going to say velociraptor, but I don't know what it is. This wicked looking little velociraptor-y dinosaur-y thing. This is all one piece. I still have this in my animal parts collection. And it was a really phenomenal looking set. And I'm really happy to have this instruction manual to go along with it. Next up, we have a couple classics from the Lego Star Wars world. We have this Mandalorian Battle Pack. This Captain Rex up here, so nostalgic. I loved this set when I got it. I kind of miss just tiny little battle packs like this as opposed to the larger battle packs we have now. So, just a lovely little manual. Next up, we have this, one of the classic Lego Star Wars clone battle packs. This is the one that comes with the ARC Trooper and the ARF Trooper together. One of my favorite things about pillaging these old manuals is seeing the stuff in the back. So you have this, which is images from a Lego Star Wars short that pertain to these, I guess. And a bunch of the sets that came out in that same year. Some really classics. This is one of the best TIE fighters we've ever gotten, other than the Solo one. And our Win Kit on the back. Next up is the classic, not the very first one, but probably the most well-known clone battle pack, the Clone Walker. This is from 2008, and I love this set. I have it built over with my Lego Star Wars stuff. Here's a really cool poster that you can find in the very back. Very nostalgic. And here are all the sets. Oh, I actually have all 3 of these sets from 2008. I should go and rebuild those. I have this one built. I should really go fish out this Darth Vader's TIE Fighter. And oh, devastating, back in a time when Exoforce was being produced and advertised. All right, very cool. Next up is this Lego Kingdoms set. The Dragon Knights are one of my favorite castle factions. I just think that they are so cool. The Dragon Wizard was a really fun little minifigure. I love in this set, it comes with this drum lacquered gold Power Miners crystal. And I also love that it came with all of the weapons from the Heroica board game, which is a really cool way to get some pieces, especially like this knife right here, this axe, and this staff down here. There was no real other way to get them other than in the board game or in this set. And I use this knife all the time for mocks. And this sword as well, actually. Oh, speaking of devastating, pour one out for a real one. God, I loved LEGO Universe. Here's all of our Kingdom sets all together. And here's another nostalgic poster in the back. Very cool. Next up, we have this set. This is the Sith Night Speeder set with Ventress and, of course, Savage Opress, which is the reason that I got this at the time. I remember I bought this set from the toy store as a child and tried to build it in the car and immediately lost Anakin's lightsaber down the back of the seats, and I never found it again. So let that be a lesson to y'all. Here's some other sets from, I believe this is the 2013 wave. Here's the Sith Infiltrator, the older one. That was the right size compared to the new one. Here's an ad for LEGO Star Wars 3 The Clone Wars. Probably my second least favorite LEGO game. That's okay. And here we have LEGO Lord of the Rings. This set in particular is a little bit topical right now, actually, because the LEGO Shire now has a recreation of this set built right into it. Ooh. I wonder if this was an international copy. It has all the different languages. Mine certainly wasn't as a child. LEGO Lord of the Rings sets have really gone up in value, it seems, lately. I don't know if it's just for demand or because they're all retired, but LEGO Lord of the Rings will fetch you a pretty penny. Oh, and I love this from the Lord of the Rings instruction manuals. Something that they then continued on into the CMF line to this day is that now you have all of the minifigures that you can collect, little check boxes next to them. That's very cool. Next up, another Lord of the Rings set. I love this set for all of the Uruk-hai that it came with. It basically was an Uruk-hai battle pack. It also was my first introduction to this new horse piece that could rear up on its hind legs. That was very cool. Unfortunately, a bunch of the Uruk-hai minifigures that I got with this are now broken because they were all made out of the old dark red color, which has since been known to crack and to break, to deteriorate. So that's a bummer. But there were some incredibly detailed and well-made figures. This is one of the really cool things about this model is that if you bought the Helm's Deep set, the two could actually combine and you could have one large fort and recreate the Battle of Helm's Deep. So that's super cool. I wish they did more combiner sets in the modern day. Alrighty, and last but certainly not least, you have these manuals from the very first wave of Ninjago. I did not have this set as a child, but when I was slightly older, a family friend of ours was getting rid of some of their old Lego, and my parents bought a bin of it, including disassembled this entire set. So I've since reassembled it. It now lives in my Ninjago collection, and now it's nice to have the manual for it because I built it off of a PDF, and that's just not as much fun. One weird thing about this manual is that it is in 2 booklets for a set that is really not that big. I guess maybe just to make it more accessible and easier to understand for kids? Who knows? Oh, this in the back is just a blast from the past. You have all the different spinners that came out in that first wave over here. Your 4 Ninja plus 3 of the Skulkin, Sensei Wu, Frackjaw. And then you have all of these art pieces over here. I really miss this art style, and I wish that they continued to make new promos for the new seasons of Ninjago that had this art style. Look at how cool this Samukai down here looks. This is the same style that's on the Ninjago cards as well that I am in the process of collecting. And they really just add so much character to like what Ninjago felt like in 2011. It was very this. This is definitely a feel thing. This feels good. Here are all the sets from that original wave that in a nice little poster like we saw earlier. Ooh, I didn't know this existed. Right over here is a map of where they found all of the 4 weapons of Spinjitzu, the Caves of Despair, the Fire Temple, the lightning towers, and the ice place. Yikes. Ninjago.com. Oh, and here it is. Okay, so this is the board game that this die piece came from that I was talking about earlier. So I have in my collection, I have these 5 actually, including Sensei Wu, little minifigures. And I've been trying to find a way to get this set. I started to piece it out on Bricklink until I decided to do some research on how much this set goes for new in box. And not new, but still in box with the instruction manuals, you can find this set for, I don't know, like 20, 30 bucks, which feels very reasonable for a board game. I have no idea if it is at all enjoyable or if I would have fun with it as an adult, but I definitely want to get a complete set of this that I can have as part of my Ninjago collection. And Lego Universe again. Pour another one out if you didn't earlier. So that's all of these instruction manuals. Like I said, very cool. These to me feel like the ultimate act of like preservation of old Lego sets, because boxes, you can take them or leave them. They take up a lot of space. But these are actually informational, and having these as part of a collection really feels like you're connected to them in some way, I guess. Like, they're really instrumental. They're really cool. They really feel like a time capsule of the era, and I love filling out my collection of these. Alrighty, shifting gears a little bit, we are going to turn our attention over to the second place where I got stuff from. This was a local comic book shop, and so as such, of course, I got these 2 things right here. These are Ninjago Shatterspin comics, issue 1 and issue 2. Unfortunately, from what I've seen, it seems that Shatterspin issue 3 has actually been canceled. No one knows what's going to happen, if it's going to come out in the full collected version and we'll still get the completed story. But there's going to be no way to have the complete 3-issue set here, which is a little bit of a bummer. But I bagged these up, not that they're valuable or anything. I just wanted to have them look museum quality in my collection. And I'm looking forward to getting the full version of Ninjago Shatterspin whenever it comes out. The other really cool thing about this comic book shop is that it was selling $4 minifigures, just loose in little plastic bags. And I want you to keep that in mind, $4, because some of the figures that I bought are less than $4, and some of them are way more than $4. So I'll have a running tally around the screen in a format that I actually borrowed from Bricks by Mind. I thought it was really effective when he was reviewing his Ninjago scam blind boxes. So keep an eye out for that. Keep track, follow along. Let's see if I actually got a good value in these minifigures. Starting off strong, I found this Jestro figure. Now, Jestro is from Nexo Knights. I was never a fan of Nexo Knights back in the day, but I've been watching a bunch of old TV shows like Nexo Knights and Chima to just kind of get caught up on my Lego history. This figure is really cool. He's got one of the Ninjago arrow blades here, and he's got this phenomenal tattered cape. So he's definitely going to live on the historical display shelf. Nexo Knights is an important part of Lego history. Okay, next up is this Chima minifigure. His name is Flinks. There's a couple things wrong with him, namely he doesn't have a chi piece in his armor. He also doesn't come with the right head. This one actually comes with a transparent clear head instead of the printed one that he's supposed to come with. So that's a bit of a bummer, but I'm sure that I can source the original head. I get the feeling that this figure is not especially valuable, so I don't think that it'll be difficult to source the correct parts that I need to get from him. There's a variant that comes with wings. This is not that variant. That's also fine. I just like collecting these Chima minifigures for their phenomenal molded head detailing, and they're going to live on my history shelf. Also in the category of history, here's another figure from Nexo Knights. I also get the feeling that this guy is not especially valuable, but he came with this really cool Rocky headpiece here that I think is going to be really neat for D&D minifigures, potentially. Here's what he looks like underneath that. This side of his dual printed head has an eye patch on it. This side does not. And all together, I just think that this is a really well-detailed minifigure. Alrighty, next up is Hades from the Disney collectible minifigure line. I've been looking for this guy for a while for a decent price. I don't know how much he's actually worth, but he's tough to find. People like to collect these minifigures and they don't like to let go of them. Something I learned about this minifigure is that this headpiece is actually dual molded. This hair does not come off. I always assumed that this was its own piece. I know that it came also in some Ghost Rider minifigures and some Firestorm minifigures from LEGO Superheroes, respectively. I also love this tentacly base that he's got here for his legs. I definitely plan on using this for some cool minifigures. Side note, if you haven't checked out my short series, Cool Minifigure Thursday, I will have a link to it up in the top corner here. So definitely planning on using that. There's a lot of customizability, even just in this like ancient Greek torso here. And this pale blue color here is super unique. These dual molded arms look great. So all in all, a really awesome figure. Next up in the world of Ninjago, here is Zane, the Spinjitzu Master version of him. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, these figures have become surprisingly valuable for their age and for their circulation. These came in the gimmick sets for Season 8 of Ninjago, and these guys just run more expensive than you'd think. They're not like collector figures or anything necessarily, but more expensive than you'd think, and I've been missing him as part of my wall of Ninjago minifigures, so I'm happy to have him. And then the last two from this comic book shop were a real surprise to me. I was not expecting to find any Lord of the Rings Hobbit minifigures. This is Bard from LEGO The Hobbit. Specifically the version with the muddy face, which is slightly rarer than the original one. Like I was talking about earlier with the Lord of the Rings instruction manuals, these all have just skyrocketed in value, way more than I could have expected. So finding these for $4 was a really cool deal. I got both that one, and I got a Boromir. Now, when I first saw this minifigure, I thought that he was the one from the new Rivendell set. Then I did a little bit more research and found, no, he's actually the one that is featured in the original Lord of the Rings wave. So if I go back to that checklist, you can see this Boromir came with the Mines of Moria set up here. He's missing his cape and he's missing his printed shield, but that's okay. I'm sure that I can find those. Neither of them are the actually exclusive parts to this minifigure, so neither of them are going to be too difficult to track down. And, you know, I'm a little bit bummed that he's not the one from Rivendell, so he's not quite as rare or valuable as I had kind of hoped he could be, but he's still a phenomenal addition to my collection. Alrighty, and last but certainly not least, I have the haul that I got from the flea market. I found at a local flea market a seller who was doing a bunch of old LEGO stuff. They had this one. It was sealed up in a plastic bag. It came with the instruction manual as well. But this is Jedi Defense 1 from the original wave of Phantom Menace sets. I got this set for $30, which is a little bit higher than its current running price on Bricklink, but that included the instruction manual. And if you factor shipping into the equation, it ended up being a little bit cheaper than you can probably buy it on Bricklink, or at least pretty comparable with some of the lower listings. The only unfortunate thing about it is that these droidicas are made with the old brown and the old light and dark gray pieces, so they are actually breaking in a lot of places. You can see that there. You can see this droidica's head is very loose. So, you know, it's going to be a constant battle with these of keeping them in pretty good condition and replacing the parts that break as they just age. But still, being able to find this Obi-Wan minifigure with his chrome lightsaber hilt and his yellow skin was worth it to me as a LEGO historian and a LEGO Star Wars fan. So all in all, this is how I've made out recently in terms of collecting some old LEGO, collecting some really niche pieces here, collecting some that are part of a collection that I already have, putting some towards a collection that I'm hoping to buy, and just finding some really neat pieces of LEGO history. I hope you enjoyed. I hope that this is something that I can continue to do as I'm constantly searching for just neat things in the world of older LEGO, used LEGO, and thank you very much for watching. See you later.